This episode of Bourbon on Ice, presented by Your Friend Frosty and your bartender, Mike Whiskey, is brought to you by the Cape Media Center of Cape Cod, Massachusetts. The views and opinions expressed during this podcast do not necessarily reflect those of the Cape Media Center. Listener discretion is advised. Hey, Frosty, what are you drinking?
Well, the bottle says unfiltered poison.
Well, I'm having Dr. Pete. Roll the music.
Welcome, listeners, to Bourbon on Ice,
Where we talk about everything nerdy, like gentlemen.
Join us every week for our local Cape Cod take on, well, everything.
Laugh, cry, be confused, and laugh some more.
I'm your friend Frosty.
And I'm your bartender, Mike Whiskey.
Stay tuned. You think they'll like the episode?
Oh, they'll definitely love it.
Yahtzee! Cheers! Bingo! I don't know. Roll for initiative. Am I getting close?
You did with that last one.
Okay. Now what do we do?
Well, if you're rolling for initiative, it means combat's starting.
Okay,
There's a dragon over there. What are you gonna do?
pee my pants and flee.
That's actually the smart decision.
Yay! Welcome to Bourbon on Ice, everybody. I am your friend Frosty.
And I am your bartender, Mike Whiskey.
And this is Bourbon on Ice, where we discuss all things nerdy like gentlemen. Sans the whole pants peeing and fleeing of dragons. That could just be, bad.
Yeah.
I think I dropped one of your dice somewhere.
Yes, and I don't appreciate that.
All right, let's look for it. So, we're back. Last week we talked about something nerdy, so this time we'll surely talk about something topical, relevant, and completely normal.
I thought we stalled for the whole episode last week.
No, that was 2 weeks ago when we first started the year and decided to break it in with professionalism and
Tact.
well-measured tact, yes. We don't have that sort of thing. No. Quick, let's make something up.
Dungeons and Dragons. That's all made up.
Technically, yes. I like that. I like where you're going with that.
And the points don't matter.
Yeah, there's that. So, everyone, we are back in the game room. There was an incident at the station, something involving pitchforks and flame. It was a whole thing.
Oonga boongas and giant monkeys.
Those two, and the aforementioned dragons. Now, we are here in a familiar, friendly atmosphere. I'm drinking unfiltered poison. He's drinking some sort of tea out of a mason jar.
No. It's raspberry mint flavored water. It's basically seltzer.
It just looks so...
It looks like a healing potion.
Thank you. That's exactly where I was trying to go. It does look like that. Oh, what has happened to us? We used to be normal people talking about... Did we ever talk about sports or stock exchange or what is it non-nerdy people talk about?
Mortgage rates?
I don't think we ever talked about that stuff. I think we were always like this.
I was never normal. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, what is that phrase? I tried to be normal once, worst 30 seconds of my life.
I like the grumpy cat meme. I was happy once. I hated it.
I maintain that I will never be happy. Frequently amused and mildly content, yes, but happy, no. And I'm okay with that. I am waiting for the moment at work when someone asks me if I am ever happy, so I can just tear them a new one. What can I say? I'm a horrible person. But I own it. Like this new object I own. Everybody, you should prepare to ooh and ah, because on this edition of the Cape Cod Nerd Word, we are going to discuss D&D, but we're going to discuss something new.
And maybe something old.
But it's so shiny.
I know, but look at my thing.
Oh, your thing is definitely old.
Yeah, my thing is definitely old.
But mine is definitely new.
Yes.
And shiny.
Ergo,
it's better. Everyone knows that if it's shiny and new, then even if it's terrible, it's better for at least a minute. Just ask everyone who played the first couple of God of War games before pre-patch. What do you have over there?
I have TSR Dungeons and Dragons from 1981.
The Song Riddle.
No.
Turkey Silver Riders.
They sue regularly.
What is it?
Tactical study rules.
That makes a lot more sense from the crap that we were coming up with.
Yeah.
I mean, 1,000. But
Whoa.
that looks old.
It is 1981. It's older than both of us.
The unimportant time. Before me.
Yeah.
I maintain that it must have been a very boring and quiet and possibly well-ordered age. Then I showed up and all went to hell.
You're not technically wrong.
Tell me about this thing.
This is actually the second set of rulebooks, the original being in 1974, but this was a compiled and streamlined. This is D&D Basic Edition. So around this time, not only Dungeons & Dragons Basic Edition, but Advanced Dungeons & Dragons came out.
I see a woman with scary-looking eyeliner attacking a odd-looking dragon.
With a man with a wooden shield and a spear, attempting to throw it.
Kind
at
of a
said
funny
dragon.
Viking helmet on his head.
Yeah, it's got wings. It's wild. It's definitely 80s.
It's dramatic. It's over the top. It just looks plain stupid. It's definitely the 80s.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the 80s. You had your chance. You had your chance to be cool. You were never cool.
Leg warmers.
Zebra print.
Roller disco.
Hoop earrings.
Power walking.
Oh, we're awful people. Crystal Pepsi.
Yeah.
Damn it, New Coke.
New Coke.
Wasn't that when they brought New Coke out?
I don't know.
Ugh.
I wasn't there for it.
I was hoping you had just taken a drink. I was trying to see if you would spit anything out, but that didn't work.
No.
No, I gave it a shot. 80s, we apologize for raking you over the coals, but you had it coming. And
You were a much better time. We joke out of love.
I mean, save for some of the really awful things that happened, but like pop culture wise, yeah, sure, let's go with that.
Yeah.
So that's an original rulebook. You could actually, that's the thing that people would play with. That is so small.
This is basically what started it all.
It's streamlined and tiny.
And it's like just under 70 pages, and it is not only a player's handbook, it is also the Dungeon Master Guide. Remember those
All in one book.
All in one book.
What a time to be alive the 80s were then.
You want to know something fun too?
Let me hear the fun thing.
You remember how I had you pick like your race in class, so you were an elf and like a sorcerer or wizard?
Or like my new character, the lesbian poison-loving dark elf.
Oh yes.
She's a hoot.
In this game, elf, dwarf, and halfling are classes.
Oh, huh. Rules have changed since then.
Very much so.
I'm also marveling at the fact that everything in the world of D&D is in that one book.
Yeah. Well, actually, this one is only levels 1 through 3.
But back then, it was just, it.
Yeah, that was it.
That was it. It's all... You don't have to get 500 extra books.
And this book I have underneath of it.
What is that?
This is the Rules Cyclopedia, and this is this book plus a ton. This book can get you through level 1 through 36.
That is huge. It looks like you could kill a small rodent with that thing.
You could kill a small rodent with it. In fact, you might be able to kill a giant rat. Let me look at the statistics.
Oh. I walked into one of my delivery...
That joke? Yeah.
Yes, I walked into one of my delivery locations, and a woman there runs up to me and says, "Do you see that box on the floor that's flat?" I said, "Yeah." "There's a spider under it. Could you make sure I killed it?" Like, I stomped on it. "Could you make sure it's dead?" Like, the things I do for these people.
Just remember, folks, your packages aren't delivered properly until there's a boot stamp on it.
I had no qualms. Like, once a spider, like, attacks you, it ruins your idea of security anywhere. Like, I was in the music studio that I used to go to for rehearsals years ago when I was a jazz musician. Just sitting there, looking at the music on the stand. A spider descended from the ceiling and walked onto the music, and I literally grabbed the book and slammed it shut. And like, okay, we're not using these pages anymore. From now on, everything that was on this page, we're just not going to use.
Yep.
Because I'm not going to open the book and see that. And God forbid I have to clean it off. But after that, like, every time I walked into the room, I'm like, check the ceiling.
Check the ceiling.
Roll for initiative.
No, you need to roll me a perception check.
Roll for perception schmeck.
Yes.
That thing.
Exactly.
Okay, then. Good. I'm just glad I'm getting the clear view of this.
Yes. Now you got a little schmutz on your face, and let me give it.
Oh, for hell's sakes. Get off. Get off. One of the guys I work with, he asked, what was it like at UPS? And I said, Yetzes, putzes, and total klutzes. I stand by that. I want that on a shirt. So the Cyclopia, what exactly do you use that for?
Anything that you would use the player's handbook or dungeon master guide or monster manual for.
Ew, there's gross pictures in there.
Oh yeah, there's nice pictures in here.
There's decapitated heads.
Yeah, on the wall. Trophies.
Well, sure, I mean, like, what else?
Oh, beholder.
A giant eye staring out of a giant head that has many other eyes on stalks attacking a person.
You just perfectly described it.
I mean, like, right there.
Yep.
They had one of those on Futurama in one episode. It was an office employee.
This has rules for warfare and sieges and how to become a god.
I think we could all use that type of guidebook in our lives. Like, are you tired of the day-to-day drudgery? Well, screw all that. How'd you like to be a god?
Infinite cosmic power. Itty-bitty living space.
We've been hanging out too much. Far too much. Actually, that reminds me of 2 books that are on my wish list.
Okay.
Well, one I've already bought.
Oh.
When I am working, I listen to a great deal of audiobooks. It's the only thing that keeps me from slowly going completely mad and driving the roads of Cape Cod, cackling like a madman, hurling objects out the window at people, running over lawn gnomes, and there are a lot of lawn gnomes.
You got a lot of lawn gnomes in your area?
There is one house that has easily 100 in the front yard.
Holy cow.
And they're not just on the ground, they're like... They've got shelves. They're overtaking the trees. They're hanging out of the branches. I look at this place and I'm like, so they're single. Clearly.
Or worse, they have a partner who encourages them.
Could be even worse. Yahtzee Croshaw has 2 books out, and I got them for the title alone. Like,
oh.
Yeah.
I love Yahtzee. He's hysterical.
We'll save the galaxy for food, and the sequel, We'll destroy the galaxy for cash. Like, I don't care if it's bad. I with a title like that, it's worth my time now.
Yeah.
Time Traveler's Wife. Fih. We'll destroy galaxy for cash. Now that's a title you can hang a hat on.
He's got such a way with words.
Speaking of, and I admit this to absolutely no one, so let me put it on a podcast to go out on the internet.
To everyone.
To every person within every home. Run and tell that. Yes, that's a musical reference. Did I mention I was gay yet in this episode?
No.
There we go.
We fulfilled our quota now.
There we go. Have we also mentioned that you're engaged?
We haven't mentioned that in a while, actually.
Okay, well, you're engaged. There we go. We need to mark those off in every episode. What was my point here? My mother used to read all of those Harlequin romance novels. I would open the door to her bedroom and the piles would fall over. Little did she know that that's how I learned about sex. Because, when she was out of the house, I would pick up these books, which every single one had a gorgeous, shirtless, muscular guy on the front. Maybe he was alone. Maybe he was wearing a cowboy outfit. Maybe he was holding a beautiful woman in his hands. Maybe they were in the throes of passion, but there was always that. So, eventually I started looking these things up. I'm like, boring. Oh, sex scene. Oh, so this is how it works. I swore to myself, never gonna read this sort of stuff in my life. Never. Now, years later, I'm listening to GLBT, well, obviously the G-themed romance novels as I'm driving around in my truck. His heart quickened, staring into those beautiful amber eyes, saying it's now or never. He gathered his wits up and stepped forward and oh. Oh, wait, I'm delivering stuff. I'm in public. Oh, well, no one can hear it.
Meanwhile, I'm listening to Shakespeare.
Oh, but I do say that all of it is sci-fi themed.
Oh, neato.
This one has a cop who witnessed a paranormal activity, couldn't explain it, and wound up enlisting the help of a psychic. And the pair of them have fallen in love in Myrtle Beach. It's wonderful. And then there's another one who is an artifact hunter dealing entirely with cursed artifacts who returned from a years-long trip to find his partner cheating on him. So he's run away, but has found love in another person who is also a man. And, you know, in the background of this, there's like spooky crap going on. So I can technically say I'm there for the story, but really, it's the sex scenes. It's the graphic, gory sex scenes.
It's the quote-unquote plot.
The meme. I read it for the plot. The plot. Picture of something inappropriate. There it is.
Yep.
There was this one that I'm reading. It's not supernatural theme, but it's all about a motorcycle gang. I'm just like, wow, this is unbelievably cruel and violent. Well thought out. I wonder what this... Oh, sex scene.
You're terrible. Let's get back to Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay, well, what I have here is something brand new. Someone has asked what is new. New? What did you tell them? Sorry, I'm making a Ratatouille reference.
Do we need something blue now, too?
Oh, God. You have an air thingy over there, an air freshener thing over there.
That's a little bit blue.
Okay, there's new. What you have is old.
Something old, something new.
Something borrowed.
And something blue.
Damn it, we haven't borrowed anything. Huh. Give me that.
We've borrowed your goodwill.
There.
We've borrowed your goodwill.
I like that.
Listeners.
I pronounce this marriage completely standing and insane. I give it a week. What I have here is something brand new. This is a book on Dungeons and Dragons. I know!
Right?
This is a book on Dungeons and Dragons called Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel, which is an adventure anthology for the 5th edition of the Dungeons and Dragons fantasy role-playing game. And this is a big deal. Not only because I now have a spider-killing object in case one shows up.
It is a good spider-killing object.
Also, you know, if a person came at me, this has some definite heft to it. I mean, look, see, that's it. Got some definite heft to it. Like, if you hit them with the binding, I could take out a nose.
Yeah.
But this was actually the first book where every adventure was created by an author of color.
Interesting.
On top of that, this book introduces a brand new location, as you may have guessed. It's called the Radiant Citadel. And this is a hub world. So basically, I'm holding the blueprint for a video game.
Yeah.
It's really exciting.
Wait, is your creative juices flowing?
There's more. It has an open option on how to incorporate your characters and tie any worlds you've been creating into the Adventure Hub. Ooh. I know, right? And, you know, knowing that I would absolutely never use this thing on my own, I said I must have it and bought it for myself.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry.
Because that is what you do.
That is what I do.
When you are engrossed in a hobby.
It is. I mean...
You buy all of the things, even though you will never personally use them.
It's like those people who go out and plant seeds and then forget about them until the birds come and they're like, yes, why is my garden not growing? I should have watered it at least once.
Or the people who buy gnomes and put them in their yard.
They're hanging in the trees like crazy people.
The Cape Media Center, located in Dennisport, Cape Cod, Massachusetts, is a non-profit community media center and the public access TV station for the towns of Barnstable, Yarmouth, Dennis, Harwich, and Chatham. Our mission is to build community through media, enhance democratic communication, and facilitate free expression by providing these towns with a state-of-the-art media resource center. Members can become trained in our video and audio equipment and produce their own media content. Membership includes training classes, access to our field equipment, studios and facility, as well as airtime. Podcasters and music producers can share their content on our website. For more information, visit capemedia.org.
This episode of Bourbon on Ice is brought to you by Market Street Bookshop in Mashpee Commons, located at 31 Market Street, Mashpee, Massachusetts. Embrace diversity and find support for local authors and artists at the Market Street Bookshop, where your favorite new read is just a browse away. For more information, give them a call at 508-539-6985. Welcome to the Radiant Citadel. Really? Nothing?
No, it's quite enrapturing.
Okay. I just need constant validation of the things I'm doing.
I understand.
That's why if we lived in olden times, I would have minstrels behind me singing the stuff I do.
Brave Sir Robin ran away.
Great. I just got done with Kate McKinnon's audiobook, Heads Will Roll. She has minstrels who are following her, and sometimes she said, and it was a running gag, she would say something like, there is absolutely, positively no way I'm doing this. And you hear the minstrels, smash, cut, to, and then she'd be doing the thing. There's no way I'm getting in that car. Smash, cut, to. I can't believe I'm riding in this car. It was great. I mean, she swears so much. Drops so many freaking F-bombs. It was a great story. She has a raven, Jojo, who used to be a princess, and it now attends an AA sort of meeting, a support group for people who are also royalty but were cursed to be turned into objects and various fairy tale creatures.
It's an expansive group.
The sirens were all gay men who give excessive compliments.
That doesn't seem quite right.
Gnomes have explosive flatulence, but it needs to be triggered by the right things, namely beans.
Okay. Broccoli.
And Thor is in a very toxic, interdependent relationship with his wife, Frigg, who may or may not have, caused a few natural disasters which shaped the entire course of the world.
All right, then.
It's great, I recommend it. But not for children. Okay, the Radiant Citadel. The Radiant Citadel is, as I was saying, a anthology adventure book which was created by authors of color, and frankly, I've been going through all of this.
Yeah,
It contains 14 adventures.
Yeah, you were telling me about this, and you were fangasming at this.
Wait, I just learned to count. 13. There we go.
I'm very proud of you.
Now we're realizing why I didn't finish college that first time. And I thought it was just the fact that it was, me, and there was a lot of partying. Maybe, the cops were called once or twice.
Yeah, it could be a combination of factors.
Who knows? We'll never know. These various adventures, however, while an amazing part of this book, are not actually the true meat and
potatoes.
Thank you, meat and I was looking for the way to say that. Potatoes. I'm going to read you an extract from this book.
All right, that's enough.
What? Am I not allowed to clear my throat?
Nah, you're exaggerating, like you always do, for dramatic effect.
Hang on, I need to.
And having made you at that effect,
I need to take my glasses off, and we need to move and this item. Okay. I'm going to bring my fist down on the table right here. Okay.
Yep.
Here it comes. How could you? I'll never, ever live down this complete, insufferable remark. How was that? Was that good? Take it again?
Yep. No.
Okay, we're good. Moving on. Reading an excerpt from this, and bluntly put, word for word. In the heart of the ethereal plane lies an ancient and mysterious city called the Radiant Citadel. Through tradition, cooperation, and ancestral magic, 15 civilizations are bound to this wondrous site. Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel is an anthology of exciting adventures that explores the cultures and myths of these realms. The adventures and journeys through the Radiant Citadel were created by members of the Dungeons & Dragons community with connections to various real-world cultures and mythologies. Embarking on the adventures of the Radiant Citadel will expand your gaming horizons, can give your characters new perspectives, and might change the way you look at fantasy tropes and traditions. As adventures are the lens through which we explore fantastic worlds, they shape who our characters are and what they believe in. The greater the variety adventures offer, the richer our characters and, by extension, our gaming experiences. From glittering night markets to undersea cities, from curse-afflicted villages to angel-ruled city-states. Did I say states? I think I said states.
You did say states.
States. These adventures provide a pathway to never-before-seen lands and stories. The gates of the Radiant Citadel stand open, and a rich tapestry of stories is yours to explore. Now, I'm gonna break this down.
Take a second to breathe.
Air is not needed. Give me my carbon dioxide. Away with you, O2. Anyway, I'm going to break this down for you. From just that intro, what this means is that this book actually expands upon various worlds and allows you to incorporate your own characters in totally new ways. Now, there are 15, as they mentioned, 15 civilizations.
Yep.
They are listed within this book. At the end of each story, so to speak, is something called a gazetteer. I've opened to a random one in the land called Ianido.
Yep.
What happens here is you are provided with features, noteworthy sites, life in said area, legends of the area, potential adventures that are going on, and how to create characters from an area.
Ooh.
Now, I may have confused you all, like, what? Don't you just whip a character out and just throw them in? Well, as I've said, all of these are of different backgrounds, the writers, and they're reflected. Ionido, as I've said, is actually, and there's some artwork in here, highly inspired by Asian culture, down to the costume and dress, and just the pronunciation and names. Ionido Gazetteer. The people of Ionido, the city of judgment, pride themselves on upholding tradition. Thousands of years ago, the great dragon Miryu entrusted the founders of the city-state with a mandate to forge and lead a great civilization. Ionido's people took the dragon's words to heart, establishing a reverence for fealty and order that has remained steadfast throughout the centuries. Two main beliefs form the foundation of Ionido society: that structure is the key to all things, that adherence to familial duty trumps all but one's devotion to the royal family. It then goes on to indicate that there have been breakings of this tradition over the year. In noteworthy sites, it talks about the Seat of Dragons, the Uik River, and the Dokabi Temple. Features of Ionido include its citizens' familial loyalty and reverence to tradition, as well as the ancestral spirits called Guishin, the people, who are human and dragonborn, being most popular. Humans from Ionido are primarily dark-haired and dark-eyed, and dragonborn have colorings based on bloodlines, commonly red or blue. And as for languages, that's a language called Halri, language related to Draconic through all citizens, and they're also fluent in Common. How would you create a character in this area? Well, what is your social class and clan? Is your family part of nobility or working class? Do you want to change your status? Do you have a special role in the city's hierarchy? As in, do they hope to pass the test of ascension and become a magistrate? What is that? Well, that's included on the next page, where you see clans and identity and the ruling by magistrates. How have the Guishin affected you? And again, talks about what the Guishin are. There's even a section here for what are known clan names that you might find. Bei, Chun, Ha, Yung, Song. Feminine names include Youngwon, Hama, Jiyun.
Nice.
There's even a gender-neutral section.
This all really reminds me of China during the Age of Confucius.
Should we perhaps take a move to a different area? This is called Zinda, which happens to be in the chapter known as Wages of Vice, which I read the other night. And this place is kind of cool.
This is look colorful.
This is Zinda, a city of spiraling marble towers and turrets, of universities and guild halls, and specialty shops lining paved streets. Far below the balconies, the court of flowers and the pier ring with the merry laughter of the songs of laborers. Year-round, Zinda's plazas and parlors are full of academics, merchants, and pilgrims, but for 10 days in the summer, the March of Vice draws even larger crowds as the city celebrates the local wine trade, specifically the jelly wine that has made Zinda the wealthiest city in the land. Zindanese citizens guard themselves in brightly colored costumes, feathered headdresses, and indulge in feasting, song, and dance. What are noteworthy sites here? The Court of Flowers, the Covenant, the Elucidarium, and the Jelly Gardens. This is a place that is lined by this map here by intense jungles. Life in the Zinda. There's a strong class divide. They talk about the faith in the ancestors, what the March of Ice is, various legends, and I'm just going to read this because this is a short one.
Okay.
In the oldest legends, spirits of the jungle and ocean work together to create Zinda, where fire once met the sea, creating the black volcanic sand above which the city stands. These beings raise stone buildings from the earth, shifting rivers and trees to accommodate them. Satisfied with their creations, the ancestral apparitions welcome the first Zindanese. Lately, the Datura, who walk the jungles, warn that these spirits are agitated and seek appeasement from Zinda for its avarice. The festival, called the March of Ice, shares similar supernatural origins. Tales tell of wicked spirits corrupting the people before being cast into the sea by a parade of elders. This legend is commemorated every summer through the March of Ice, with the members of the Covenant of Magic assuming the mantle of elders. And again, you're saying, what is that? What is that? It's all laid out. Now, yes, we've given you some very interesting worlds. Aren't these interesting?
Yeah.
They sound interesting.
You certainly sold them very well.
What do you do with this knowledge? Well, it's simple. Hey, Whiskey, did I mention that I just created a dark elf character?
Yes.
I turned her into one of these characters.
Ooh.
Very bluntly put, I was reading through this and it says, what are the people that make up a place like Zinda? Well, humans make up the majority of Zinda's population, skin tones ranging from brown to black, hair grows in spiral curls. Elves and halflings are also frequently seen in Zinda with other non-humans. I decided to change Lilac Truemoon into a Zindanese. And all of a sudden I said, I don't have to create a background for her from a totally random world. Here's one that she fits into. Yeah. And if I read these pages, I can figure out how it builds her character more. I actually changed another one of the characters that I've got on my back burner that I haven't created yet into a God's Breath, which is one of the civilizations, a God's Breath resident. I'm actually finding this very interesting because as someone who's new to D&D, I was worried on where do my characters fit in. Well, now I know there's places for them. Yeah. They truly can exist. In coming up with this book, it's asked right in the beginning chapters, how do your characters fit in? Well, here's some suggestions. They came from one of the civilizations. They wandered here. They were escaping from one of the civilizations. This woman here, if you can see this picture, I'm holding the book up. Can everyone see it? How about you in the back? Okay.
Just let us know.
That is a Speaker Cholet, and she is actually an ancient brass dragon that takes on this form. Everyone knows her nicely as the old lady. She kind of runs the entire citadel, but it's clear from the get-go that this is not a static place. There's a constant storm raging around the entire thing. It's small, so people don't want to stay here, which is why they continue going into the civilizations. And while I said there's 15, there is actually more. I think if I looked in here, somewhere in here it mentions...
like up to 21 or something.
Yes, but they have not been unlocked. They belong in gates that have been locked away, held shut.
Forgotten.
So you, or
me,
coming up with this new world, say...
Oh, mine is Tyrell.
The world of Tyrell could be one of those civilizations. Suddenly you have a way to link all of this stuff that you've been doing to this particular citadel, have people wander in, and even then, it's about as inclusive as yours, because there's a map here. There we go. The Passage of Respite. This is how people get in. If you somehow fly into the area, you're required to come back to here. Laws in this place are laid out. What you can buy. The specific gods. I'm loving this.
I can tell.
I'm freaking out about it. I've been up at night with a
devouring this book
with a bottle or two of mead. No one's gonna believe me if I say that. No one's gonna freaking believe me.
No.
Okay, I'm sitting there with a bottle of hard vodka.
Nice.
I mean, vodka is by itself hard. It's just, when I pour it, it becomes very bitter. And going over all of this, and I am loving this book. For instance, to access each of these particular civilizations, you must be in contact with a Concord jewel, which is what they're called. What's this over here? Oh, this says that to get into San Sitlan, you need to be in contact with the fire opal. Jasper for the god's breath, and I mentioned Zinda earlier, and that's Bastite. Bastite, am I pronouncing that right?
Bastite, probably.
And of each of these areas, there is something called a dawn incarnate. Basically a spirit created from the memories and souls of those who have passed, which is sentient. People can speak to them. The particular one for Teletepec is the obsidian eagle. There's a picture there, and here is a picture, again, holding up the book for everyone to see. Squint, everyone, pile in.
It's on the projector, class.
Oh, when you saw the teacher wheel that thing in,
You knew it was going to be a good day.
The lights are going out. Time for a quick nap. This is a picture in the preserve of the ancestors where they reside. A traveler seeks the wisdom of the amethyst tiger, the dawn incarnate of Ianido. And in keeping track with the book, I mentioned the dragonlings. Who else would be making an offering? Only put, this book is very comprehensive. And, of course, to avoid spoiling anything, I've been keeping away from the actual stories because I'm probably going to have to hand this to Whiskey so he can run us through these adventures and we can break in our characters.
Woo!
Of course, I know how this is going to go. You're like, here you go. Frosty, you gotta let go of the book.
Yeah, you gotta let go.
I am.
It's a death grip.
I'm letting go of the book. He's prying my fingers off of it. It's like, no. And then he'll start like the finger slap at. Ow! But friendship.
Yes,
But sharing.
Sharing is caring.
If you turn to the end of the book, though, I will point this out.
Okay.
There are 15 civilizations, but I mentioned only 13 adventures. That's because 2 of the civilizations were created without adventures. They have basically gazetteers that are just laid out there, and you can do whatever you'd like with them. They have, once again, they have the whole, that's the final adventure, Orchids of the Invisible Mountain. But beyond that, you'll get to the last 2. Once again, they say, here are suggestions if you want to start an adventure in this world, and here are what the people are like, the culture and whatnot. I've gone through various ones, and people are probably just, it's wokeness, isn't it? It's just written by people of color. Well, I hate to say this to you, but looking at this book, and now I've stolen from Whiskey, his book, yeah, there's not a lot of ethnic diversity here, save for the fact that this woman is clearly a frickin' gnome. I mean, elf or whatever. But everyone is predominantly white. Let's just point that out. This is not a bad thing. But for someone who years ago would have wanted to get into this, they might have said, hey, I don't see a lot of characters like me. Maybe it was ethnicity. Maybe it was just, wow, the women are all 6 foot tall, blonde, and got bazambas, and all the guys are like the hairiest dwarf bodybuilders that could possibly exist.
I see myself in that dwarf. I've stunned him into silence. Perfect.
This is why I'm drinking the bottle marked unfiltered poison. Go to the last drop. Wow. The things we get up to here. Where is it?
This is
Where?
literally the last page.
Here it is.
Beyond
The Radiant Citadel. Dealing with the Taib Empire and Umizu. Which just sounds like something you should be eating.
It sounds like something that might be unpleasant to eat.
It sounds like some sort of creature that you would run across in a pond in Asia and then bring it back to a market where someone would fry it in a pan. Yeah, basically. What we are holding here, people, is a brand new adventure for so many people, and I freaking want in on it.
Well, then call Robert and some of the others if they're willing to play with me still.
Robert says he's forgiven you, and he wants me to stop making it sound as though they all hate you.
Ah, wonderful.
Which means that he's plotting something.
Yes.
And you won't see it coming.
No.
It'll be like, oh, Whiskey, watch out for that. Oh. Well, who could have done that? Oh. Has anyone seen Robert? Oh. Well, his apartment seems to be empty.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bo wants in, Kevin wants in. Robert is not entirely sold on D&D. We may have to lash him to a chair and, like, use some sodium pentothal. No, that's truth serum. We need the other stuff, the zombie drug. That could work. Of course, it being him, he might also actually like it.
One man's torture is another man's fantasy.
Now we should be worrying about the play sheets.
Hey, Whiskey? What do you see above us?
I see the beautiful night sky, full of stars and the Milky Way.
What do you think it all means?
Well, I think it means we're gonna have another beautiful day tomorrow. And I think it really speaks to our place in the universe, you know? Here we are, specks of dust, riding on another speck of dust, flying at hundreds of millions of miles per hour through space and time, and we get to observe the majesty and glory of the universe and stars above us. Such insignificant beings we are, wholly privileged by time and circumstance to enjoy this moment, right here, right now. It's sublime. Why? What do you think it means?
I think it means someone stole our tent, you idiot.
Ready?
I am ready.
All right, no, you got to put the book.
Okay.
Okay, Frosty, you got to put the book down. We got to finish up.
I don't want to put the book down. It's a part of me. We are linked. My soul is within these pages. It's Vashta Narada-ish.
No, put it down.
But
Close it. Close it.
But there's an interesting thing.
Close it.
One more word.
No, close it. I'll close it for you. There you go.
The spell is broken.
Yes.
You ever wonder if the words disappear when you close a book? We should check.
No, they don't. It's one of the fundamental laws of the universe. Information is neither created nor destroyed.
Look, outside. It's a coyote. Lots of them.
Not gonna work. I've put the book over here. Let's get back to the podcast.
But this is more interesting. It's a book full of worlds, which I could be a part of.
And now you're beginning to see the appeal of Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, certainly not. I just want to read books. Appeal. Oh my gosh. You remember when Robert was here and he said, like, what is your obsession with the guy you call Elder Nerd? And I said, because he's freaking awesome. This is the sort of stuff he understands. That he gets all of this stuff. And he's a cool dude. And like, I don't get to be a cool dude when I go through this. Like, your dad he wanders into the room, he says something, and he wanders out. But me, I've been like fan obsessing over that book. Oh my gosh, look at this page. Wow, look at this page. Frosty, we should focus. Like, no, we don't need to focus. We need to stop eating and drinking and just read this book. Like, I lose all control. I don't become a cool nerd. I just become a hopeless one. You know? There's ranks here, people. And sadly, I am somewhere below them. Yeah, we'll set up a game.
Yes.
Maybe we should get Jamie.
We get as Dungeons and Dragons can be played with like 6 to 8 people.
Well, from what I read in that book, thought I could grab it. What I did read in that book is that they are laid out for about 2 to 6 people, but with the proper inclusion of parties, then perhaps you can have even more.
Oh yeah.
That game that said that they were running for 30 years. How many people do you think were playing that at a time?
Probably 3. I'd honestly say that it was like in rotation, everybody coming when they could.
I wonder, hang on, to the internet, away! I wonder, is it actually up there, like, how many people were in the largest game of Dungeons & Dragons? Let me look that up.
That's tough to say because you get past 10 and it's really hard to, like, make sure everyone has a voice.
Okay, according to this, nope. I've heard of groups that are stupid big, like 30 plus people. But that doesn't say what the largest one. Jared Sorensen apparently ran a game for several hundred people at a convention.
Wow.
He ran Action Castle.
Huh.
What? This person says their personal best is 15. Players or characters? We once ran a Terroresque vs. City of Commoners for 5 hours, and the Terroresque won. Oh my gosh! I don't understand what that means at all.
A Terroresque is a famous Dungeons & Dragons monster.
I wasn't even pronouncing it right.
It's basically a living siege weapon. Giant dinosaur-like thing. Spells bounce off of it. It eats mountains. Oh yeah, it's all fun.
I have so much to learn. But do I have to? I don't actually have to learn. Isn't that kind of the fun thing where you have people who don't know what they're doing, so the rest of the group can laugh at them as things clatter harmfully against them?
Well, we don't actually...
Use them as human shields?
Well, we do use them as human shields. No, we don't actually, like, laugh at these people. No, you learn through osmosis.
Do you have to remember? Because I'd be really bad at remembering this.
No, you don't have to remember anything... You don't actually have to remember anything beyond what's going on right now in the campaign you're running.
I'm screwed. Everyone, thank you for listening. We are going to crack this thing open. If Whiskey will stop holding it over his head. Give me that. That's mine. Fine. Be that way. We will crack this thing open, and we are going to see what kind of mischief we can get into in the Radiant Citadel. But, not at this exact moment. We should really wrap up the show.
We should. All I've got to say is you will most certainly be a little chaos gremlin, and I couldn't be happier.
Stop. Stop. Go on.
The shenanigans you will get up to will be profound and baffling.
No.
Oh, yes.
No, you don't know me at all. We won't make it that far. Everyone, I am your friend Frosty.
And I am your dungeon master, Mike Whiskey.
And as always, have a cold one on us. Give me that book back.
All right, fine.
That's all I had to do. Ask.
Yes, very nicely.
That and end the show.
Exactly.
There we go.
This podcast was recorded at and produced by Cape Media Center on Cape Cod, Massachusetts by podcasting duo Mike Whiskey and Your Friend Frosty. All music and sound credits go to soundstripe.com. Special thanks to Jamie Horton, Emily Tulloch, Gabrielle Rawson. For more information on Bourbon on Ice, visit our social media page at twitter.com/whiskeyfrosty. For more information on Cape Media Center, visit capemedia.org. For more listening options and a variety of podcasting entertainment, visit our hosts at buzzsprout.com and capemediacenter.org.